And good afternoon, financial professionals, and welcome to another edition of The Brew, where we share important information, sales ideas, and build relationships every week. I'm John Florence, your host for the day. As is our tradition, we like to begin this session with a quick recap of national days. Today is National I Am in Control Day. Try telling that to my wife. It was created for two reasons. First, to advocate for better personal mental health, urging people to take control of their lives. And secondly, to commemorate the assassination attempt on March 30th, 1981 of President Ronald Reagan, when then Secretary of State Alexander Haig told the assembled press in his famous words, "I am in control." Today is also National Pencil Day. It's the perfect moment to appreciate this most ancient of writing instruments that has meant so much to humankind, allowing people to express themselves, find their creativity, and promote scribbling and doodling. I myself am an avid fan of the humble pencil and of doodling. My preferred weapon of choice is the Ticonderoga No. 2. Did you know that a single pencil can write up to 45,000 words? And lastly, today is Take a Walk in the Park Day, which was founded as a way to connect people with Mother Nature and to encourage us all to invest in our mental and physical health without necessarily spending any money. Were you aware that there are more than 423 national parks, more than 6,600 state parks, and more than 22,000 municipal parks in the United States? So dress for the weather wherever you are, get out there and take a walk today. On today's brew, as part of E4's exclusive series, we're joined by E4's very own Doug Twitty. Doug is our Director of Annuities and works closely with advisors and our RVPs, as well as the E4 design team, to build solutions using fixed and indexed annuities. For those of you who use indexed annuities in their practice, you know that there are a bewildering assortment of possible indexes, strategies, and crediting methods that can be used. And one of the key tools that we have to help sort through all of these options is something called Indexalyzer, which is a comprehensive database of indexes and all of the related performance data. Before we go over to Doug, though, I'd like to remind you that today's brew is being recorded, and as are all of the brewcasts, and you will be able to find this and all other previous recordings on both our website and on the E4 YouTube channel. Keep an eye on the chat box where we'll be posting periodic messages and where you can post any questions you may have for Doug after his presentation. As usual, at the end of the session, we'll be doing a drawing for attendees for a Starbucks gift card and a CE voucher card as well. So stay tuned for that. Now, here with Indexalyzer is Doug Twitty. Doug, welcome to the brew.
Thank you, John. Good morning or afternoon, everybody, depending on where you're at. Thank you for coming in and giving me a few minutes of your day. So I want to show you, obviously, Indexalyzer. Keep in mind, this shows us a 10-year historical, the same type of thing you see when we look at any illustration from a carrier, except that carrier shows us the last 10 years, the best 10 years, the worst 10 years of the strategy that we've allocated money to. And I found that a lot of advisors, when they would first run an illustration, they would put, say, 10% of the money to every allocation option available, look at the illustration to see which one showed the best, and then move money accordingly. So imagine if we had that same option, that same availability, except it showed us every carrier and every product. And it also gave us a filtering system, kind of like what you're used to with any other piece of software that you generally have. And we had this software that kept us really up to date. So this one, instead of showing us January 1 to January 1, that never really updates, this one was updated on the 28th of this month. So this is basically current. So it shows 3/28/2022 back to 3/28/2012. And then what we pull through is, let's just say we're going to look at a 7-year product. That seems to be what's most used with the advisors that we have. And of course, you can see all the carriers, the products, the ratings, and the indexed option that's available. And it shows whether it's annual or biennial. Now we could choose 3, 4, 5 year if we want. Nobody really uses those. I would ask you almost to ignore the return on the side though, because I know people see 10, 9, 8% basically, and you naturally want to veer away from that. So don't use this software to necessarily see what that average return has been over the last 10 years, but instead, let's use this to help determine which strategy or which product and carrier may be the best fit for this client. Now, we're just looking at 7 years here, but as you can see, we can see the ages over here. So if you tell me that you have a client that's 90 years old, we're going to automatically lose. It takes a little while. There's a lot of data in here. We're automatically going to lose a lot of the options available. So I'm going to pull back out of that moment here for the moment here, just so we can see. But usually what we get down to is a real age, and we'll choose the state that you're in. And maybe you tell me that you don't want to do a B-rated carrier. You want at least an A-. And this is going to update, and you'll see all the B++s kind of disappear. We can also choose if we want a 10 to 15% free withdrawal, single premium, flexible premium. But the way that I use this when I'm trying to figure out what to run with some of the advisors is I'll look in here and I'll say, I see that Athene is really taking over the top, right? F&G kind of fits in there a little bit. I do notice that F&G is flexible premium all year. So if you have a client that may want to throw a little extra money at it next year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, or maybe they want to throw something at it every year, I can automatically see that F&G is going to be our best option, right? I also see that we have a 2.7% fee. Some advisors don't like any fee. I will point out that's not really a 2.7% fee. It's a 1.7, but because of the bonus, that particular product comes with a 1%. So it's going to show it as 2.7 because that's really what you're paying. And I'm not a big fan of the 2.7%. That's quite a bit. I do like a fee, right? I'm okay with a fee to an extent. But if you tell me that you have a guy that's 80 years old, well, he may not want a fee. He may not even want a 2-year strategy, right? Because he may not have a whole lot of 2-year buckets left. Hopefully he does, but he may not. So I would naturally go to a 1-year strategy, and now we can see what's the best. And again, if he's 80 or so, I may turn the fees off altogether, and we can see the top performing annual strategies, carriers and products without fees, and what those are. Now, some of these aren't really available to everybody. They're limited distribution, but we can use this and determine where we want to go. Then I can also do a dashboard output for you. I can name whatever I want, but we can print this out and I can show you in a PDF format that you can also show to your clients as well. Then I'm going to back up again and let's pull all of these through. And I want to show you compare charts. So now I can pull through the top 10 or 5. I can pick which number I want, but I can pull through the top options from the dashboard and we can see exactly what each one of those has done over the last 10 years. We can scroll down and we can see what the $100,000 would have done each year. I can print this out and we can also go to manual. All right, so this is something that I really like because if you're looking at an old annuity and there's an old strategy in it, it's really outdated. All right, we can plug that strategy in here to see what it looks like because I can pick any indexed option that I want. And then I can compare it against anything that I want to create. So let's say we want to look at the Athene NASDAQ fast convergence, and it has 145% participation, and that particular one has a 1.75 fee and a 2-year reset. Well, maybe we want to compare it against American Equity, and they've got the, let's see, the Credit Suisse Tech Edge, and we're going to add crediting to it. All right, you can see, I'm going to point out real quick, I can also just show you the straight S&P. And we don't have to add crediting. You can see what the S&P itself has done. But to back up again, American Equity, that one is a 145% participation. It's got a 1.5 fee and that is a one-year strategy. Or maybe you really like the S&P and you want to look at, say, the standard, and we'll add crediting to it. And the standard has a 40% participation, uncapped, one-year option. And you can see the colors here match the lines available over here. Or one of the big ones that we show is the S&P with the highest cap. All right, that's a popular one. So of course we're doing 100% participation, and let's use a 5.5% cap on a one-year strategy. And then I'm gonna throw one more in. Let's say the Lincoln Opti Blend. They've got an S&P risk control, 5% total return, 100% participation, and that has a 0.55 spread on an annual return. So now we can look at all of these and we can see how they really compare between the different companies over the last 10 years. And of course, I can put it into a PDF to print it out. I can even come over here and we can allocate accordingly, however we want, just to speed it up. I'm gonna throw 50 there. And now I can show you what these specific strategies have done each year with 25% or 50% allocated. So you see the 25,000 and then the 50,000. And then we can show you the combined features, what the policy would have done on an annual basis, cumulative returns, right? There's lots of different ways that we can take this and pull it through. But I really like a theme. I don't sell any policies, but I actually just sold the Performance Elite 7 for a family member. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to show just the Athene Performance Elite 7 as soon as it pulls itself through. And you can see we have 18 options. There's actually 9. It's just 9 with fees and 9 without fees. But what I would recommend is, and you can't show this inside of the carrier's illustration, obviously the 2-year strategies return better, but nobody wants to see a 0% return every other year. They definitely don't want to see a loss due to a fee every other year. So we can come to a strategy here and we can say we have a $250,000 premium. Let's split the money 50-50. And let's go to, let's say, the BNB Paribas MAD 5 with a 220% participation and a 1.7 fee. All right, so that's bucket A. 50% of our money is going into a 2-year reset for the whole 10 years. And then let's move the other 50% to the NASDAQ Fast Convergence. Whoops, if I can click on the right one here. That has a 95% participation, 1.75 fee. Now, at the end of the first year, we'll hopefully get a return, and then we will move that to a 2-year bucket. Still the NASDAQ, 145% participation now, and a 1.75 fee. So 50% of the money will go to a 1-year bucket, then we'll move it to a 2-year bucket. So we have alternating 2-year buckets. And then after the 9th year, we'll move it back to a 1-year bucket. And you can see that bucket A would have done this. And you see the obvious fee coming out every other year. But you see the big returns, right? Every other year, we will hopefully have a return. I'm sorry, every year we'll have a return coming into the policy. And we end up with $660,000 when we started with $250,000. I know that seems unrealistic. I'm not making numbers up. We're just using the last 10 years historically. We can even say, all right, well, bucket B obviously returned better. So maybe instead of 50-50, maybe we do a 40-60. And now we have 667, a little chart with some color codes to show the bump each year that we can, again, print out as a PDF for you to show to your clients. Then we can look at all the index options available, the dates, the live data we have, hypothetical data we have, and a little description. We can even go into the rate sheets when there's updates. We can come over here and we can change the rates inside of any carrier product that we have, and it'll pull itself through to allow us to show that data in here as well. So we have a lot of stuff that we can pull, and this is just how we analyze some of the options available to show some recommendations of how we see. So now that you know a little bit about how this works, maybe you can help feed some info back, and you'll understand when we send these PDFs over to you. You'll hopefully understand better of what it is that we're showing you and how we pulled that together. That's about my 15 minutes. I'm hoping that we have some questions here. John?
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions. Thanks for sharing that, Doug. It seems like an amazingly powerful and robust tool. The question is, do I have access to this tool as a financial advisor or as an insurance agent?
So this particular tool, you do not. They did just come out with a tool that you can use that would basically allow you to do this. It would allow you to plug in your data, and you could see the historical returns on it, and you can compare strategies based off of a participation rate or a cap, things like that. But all of this data, this software is pretty expensive, and unfortunately, he doesn't make it available to all of our advisors.
So somebody wanting to get an in-depth analysis, how would they get a hold of something?
You can either get with me and I can give you whatever it is that you're looking for, or I need to reach out because this other option is brand new. So I need to reach out and figure out how you guys get a hold of it. But I could send you this other smaller Excel so that you can kind of play around with it yourself. I know some advisors like the option of playing around with it, just like some advisors like running their own illustrations. They want to run something and see what it looks like, modify it a little bit. So if you're that type of person, please let me know, and I will gladly get this stuff over to you.
Very good. And one other question, does E4 generate any regular reports out of this tool that they do share with financial advisors?
So we do send out a top 40 every Monday. I think we do it with no fees. We try to show the top 40 of something that's typically used by our advisors. But if you want something specific, again, let me know. I'm more than happy to send it out to you.
Okay, those are, at the moment, that looks like the only questions that we have. I think that was really, really useful. There's a question coming in as well. Do we provide, or does E4 provide any guidance toward choosing what are the right indexes or what strategy is the best strategy to use?
Absolutely. That's a big part of what we do, is on top of finding the right product based on the right features, helping you determine the best allocations to go with based off of past performances.
All right. Very good. Well, and without any other questions, we'll wrap this up for the day. Before you go, though, Doug, I'd like you to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 20, if you will.
How about 17?
And 17 is Jeff Doom. Jeff Doom is the winner of today's drawing. And Jeff, you have gotten a Starbucks gift card as well as a CE voucher that you can use to help fulfill your continuing education requirements. Join us next week on The Brew on Wednesday at noon. We will be discussing setting the stage for successful meetings, and we'll be joined by Lori Pulvermacher from Lift Consulting. The invitations are going out shortly on that. If you want to be added to the list, please email us at brew@e4.insurance. Doug, I want to thank you again for coming on and sharing Indexalyzer with us. And folks on the call, please be aware that this is something that we can help you with. If you have questions about any annuity index strategies, give us a call, get in touch with Doug, and we can run these types of in-depth analyses for you. We look forward to seeing you again next week on The Brew. Don't forget that you can also see replays of this video on our E4 YouTube channel, as well as on the e4.insurance website. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week on The Brew.